Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we have a fiery topic to discuss, one that's shaking up South African politics. We're diving deep into the recent statements made by Gayton McKenzie, the leader of the Patriotic Alliance, as he takes aim at the Democratic Alliance, DA, and the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF. His comments have stirred up a storm on social media, and in this video, we're going to break down what he said, what it means, and how it fits into the bigger picture of South African politics. South Africa's political landscape is always shifting, with alliances forming and breaking, accusations flying, and politicians making bold claims. McKenzie, who has never been shy to speak his mind, recently took to social media to criticize the DA's governance, particularly in Gauteng, Johannesburg, and Tshwane. He argued that these areas have been poorly managed under DA leadership, leading to a decline in service delivery and governance. But that's not all. He also addressed accusations against the EFF, defending them against claims that they were responsible for the destruction of buildings. Gayton McKenzie versus the DA. Let's start by breaking down McKenzie's statements about the Democratic Alliance. The DA, which has long positioned itself as the alternative to the ruling African National Congress, ANC, has governed Johannesburg and Tshwane at different points over the last few years, often through coalitions. However, McKenzie argues that their leadership has been a disaster. In his social media post, McKenzie stated, "Gauteng, Joburg has been tousled by means of the DA, Tshwane has been tousled by utilizing the @our_DA. We are understanding stuff presently, be influenced individual. We've given you 6 a long time to clutter it up, deliver us 3 a long time to settle it for you." That's a bold claim. Essentially, he's saying that the DA had their chance to fix things, but instead, they made things worse. Now, McKenzie is suggesting that his party, the Patriotic Alliance, can do a better job in half the time. This kind of rhetoric is not new in South African politics. Politicians often blame their predecessors for failures in governance. But McKenzie's comments come at a crucial time when South Africans are growing increasingly frustrated with poor service delivery, corruption, and instability in major cities. The DA, on the other hand, argues that governing these cities has been challenging because they are often forced into unstable coalition governments. Without a clear majority, the DA has had to work with smaller parties, making governance complicated and difficult. They claim that many of the problems they've faced, such as budget constraints and infrastructure issues, are inherited from years of ANC rule. Defending the EFF. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. While McKenzie was attacking the DA, he also took the time to address accusations against the EFF. Some have accused the EFF of being involved in the destruction of buildings, particularly during protests and demonstrations. McKenzie, however, dismissed these allegations outright. He said, "You do not have any proof that the EFF annihilated a developing, can you specify one pulverized by way of the @EFF South Africa? Wearing ruddy does not cruel you're an EFF part, possibly you notice people carrying red." This is an important statement because it shows that McKenzie is trying to separate facts from political rhetoric. The EFF has a reputation for being militant, often leading protests that sometimes turn violent. But McKenzie's words suggest that not every act of destruction can be automatically blamed on them. This raises an interesting question: why is McKenzie defending the EFF? While the Patriotic Alliance and the EFF are not formally allied, there are some ideological overlaps. Both parties position themselves as alternatives to the ANC and DA, appealing to voters who are frustrated with the status quo. While the PA takes a harder stance on issues like immigration, both parties share populist tendencies and often criticize the government's failure to uplift marginalized communities. By defending the EFF against these accusations, McKenzie might be signaling that he's open to some level of cooperation with them in the future. In South African politics, where coalition governments are becoming the norm, alliances can shift rapidly. The rise of the Patriotic Alliance. McKenzie's comments also highlight the growing influence of his party, the Patriotic Alliance. Founded in 2013, the PA has been steadily gaining traction, particularly among communities that feel neglected by the ANC, DA, and EFF. The party has built its brand around strong, populist messaging. They advocate for zero tolerance on corruption, including life sentences for corrupt politicians. Deportation of illegal foreigners, arguing that they take jobs away from South Africans. The reintroduction of the death penalty, particularly for violent crimes. These stances have made the PA both popular and controversial. Some see them as a party that finally speaks for ordinary South Africans, while others accuse them of promoting xenophobia and draconian policies. McKenzie himself is a polarizing figure. A former gangster who turned his life around, he's positioned himself as a no-nonsense leader who doesn't hold back. His ability to connect with ordinary South Africans, especially those who feel abandoned by traditional politicians, has given the PA an edge in local politics. What this means for South Africa's political future. So, what does all of this mean for South African politics? McKenzie's statements indicate that the battle for control of South Africa's major cities is heating up. The DA, ANC, EFF, and PA are all vying for power, and as elections approach, the political landscape is becoming increasingly unpredictable. His criticism of the DA resonates with many who believe that governance in Johannesburg and Tshwane has been chaotic. However, the DA and its supporters argue that they've been working against the odds, trying to clean up a mess left by the ANC. At the same time, his comments on the EFF show that political narratives are not always black and white. While the EFF has often been criticized for its radical approach, McKenzie's words suggest that not every accusation against them should be taken at face value. As South Africans, we have to ask ourselves, who do we trust to govern our cities? Are we satisfied with the DA's performance? Can parties like the PA really deliver on their promises? And what role will the EFF play in shaping the future of South African politics? Final thoughts. McKenzie's remarks have added fuel to an already intense political debate. His attack on the DA and his defense of the EFF show that South African politics is as dynamic as ever. With elections on the horizon, these kinds of debates will only become more heated. But now, we want to hear from you. Do you agree with McKenzie's assessment of the DA? Do you think the PA has what it takes to bring real change? And what are your thoughts on his comments about the EFF? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want more in-depth political analysis, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. See you next time.